Jerusalem was falling. The Babylonian army surrounded the city, famine filled the streets, and fear filled every heart. In the midst of betrayal and corruption, one voice still spoke for God, the prophet Jeremiah. But while kings and priests turned against him, a man from far away, an Ethiopian, a black man, a foreign servant in the king's house, would risk his life to save the prophet of God. His name was Ebed-Melech. Jeremiah had warned Judah that destruction was coming. He told the people, "Surrender to Babylon and you shall live." But his words were too hard for their pride. They accused him of treason, beat him, and threw him into a cistern, a pit with no water, only thick mud. There he sank, helpless, in the darkness, alone, starving, waiting to die. The king's advisors wanted the prophet silenced. But God had placed a man in the palace, a man whose heart was pure, whose courage would change the story. His name, Ebed-Melech, means servant of the king. But that day, he would prove himself a servant of the King of Kings. When he heard that Jeremiah had been left to die, something within him stirred, a divine boldness no fear could silence. He went straight to the throne, uninvited, unarmed, unafraid, and said, "My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet. He is like to die of hunger in the dungeon." Jeremiah 38:9. No one else dared to speak, but the voice of a foreigner, an Ethiopian, pierced the silence of fear. Moved by courage and compassion, the black servant gathered 30 men and returned to the cistern. He found torn cloths and old garments, anything that could soften the ropes and protect the prophet's frail body. Lowering them down, he called into the darkness, "Put these rags under thine armpits, under the cords." Then they pulled slowly, carefully, until Jeremiah emerged bruised but alive. And so, by the hands of an Ethiopian servant, the prophet of God was delivered from death. Ebed-Melech, forgotten by men, remembered by heaven. When the city finally fell and judgment came, God remembered the one man who showed mercy. In Jeremiah 39, the word of the Lord came to Ebed-Melech, saying, "I will deliver thee in that day. For thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord." Jeremiah 39:18. He had no army, no title, no wealth, only faith. Yet while kings perished and soldiers fled, the Ethiopian lived, spared by the hand of God. His story stands as a testimony that God sees righteousness, not rank, faith, not bloodline. Ebed-Melech was more than a servant. He was a savior in shadows, a man of color in the courts of kings, who proved that courage has no nationality. He was a voice of justice when others were silent, and his name is forever written among those who stood for truth. Jeremiah 39:18. For I will surely deliver thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord. Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian who trusted God, saved a prophet and found mercy when judgment fell. Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian who saved the prophet Jeremiah, a hidden story of black presence in the Bible.